REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Chelsea's chase for a top 4 Premier League spot gathered pace as Cesc Fabregas scored a landmark goal to deepen Swansea's relegation concerns. Fabregas struck as early as the 4th minute on a wet night in South Wales, his 50th Premier League goal and 15th for Chelsea after scoring 35 for former club Arsenal. Swansea had their opportunities, particularly in the second half, to claim some rewards, but the 1-0 defeat means it is now 6 games without a win for Carlos Carvalhal's side. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. That's all folks. 1945. Thank you for joining me today, folks. I'll be back again tomorrow to bring you live coverage of West Ham vs Manchester City followed by Manchester United vs Arsenal. Should be a cracking afternoon. Until then, have a good evening. Every game is a final. 1937, Chelsea goal scorer Cesc Fabregas. We have an opportunity but every game now becomes a final. We must show our pride and show we really want to make this happen. The bad thing is it's not up to us. In football, anything can happen. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Massive 3 points. 1935, Chelsea captain Gary Cahill. Massive 3 points for us. We've got to try and win every game until the rest of the season. We knew it was going to be difficult and it proved that way. In the second half they gambled and pushed men forward but we saw out a clean sheet. We were looking for the second goal but didn't take our chances. It was a great finish by Cesc and maybe their confidence was a bit knocked by that early goal. I've no idea what happened with Jordan Ayew. I played the ball back to our keeper and then it felt like I got hit by a bus. He barged straight into the back of me. If I overreacted then I apologize. The teams above us don't slip up and give up many points but let's keep winning and see what they do. 1930, Chelsea should have gone for more goals, right? They only need 17 goals in 3 games to reach Liverpool's tally. Twitter Roundup net, Chelsea win but they are still unconvincing. Bakayoko playing full 90 minutes means Chelsea played with 10 men. Luis Alonso got a 3-game ban. Ayew can have one also. Should have been a straight red. Swansea deserved to lose that. Only decided to play in the last 10 minutes. Were pathetic before that. Horrible challenge from Jordan Ayew, should have been sent off. The most interesting moment of an utterly forgettable game. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Swansea 0-1 CHELSEAFT, fight. The tension has spilled over folks. I've been waiting 80 minutes for this. Jordan Ayew smashes into the back of Gary Cahill without the ball and the defender goes down. Could have given him whiplash with that barge. Referee Jonathan Moss completely misses the incident, obviously. He then blows for full time straight after. Good win for Chelsea, disappointing afternoon for the hosts, who really could have got something today. 92, nothing coming from Swansea. It looks like it's job done as far as Chelsea are concerned. 91, Chelsea clinging on by their fingernails. Routledge arrives in the right place at the right time but Courtois saves his snapshot. No real conviction in the finish. 90, 3 minutes added time. 89, was that the chance? The ball loops over to the onrushing Carroll, who whips it just wide. Carlos Carvalhal and half the stadium thought that was heading in. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. 88, Dyer beats Bakayoko all too easily down the right, and the winger manages to squeeze across into the box. It's cleared but the rebound is struck goalwards by Naughton. Courtois sticks it. 86, if things stay like this, Southampton will be 1 point behind Swansea and West Brom will still be a Premier League team. 85, looks like Antonio Conte is making his third and final change with Alvaro Morata replacing Olivier Giroud. 83, oh he scuffed it. A good chance for Hazard with his final act of the day, as he shoots well wide from Giroud's clever header. Shanked it. Hazard off, Willian on. Pedro is also brought on for Fabregas. Routledge comes on for Olsen. 81, penalty appeal, Gary Cahill flies into Dyer with a full-blooded challenge and takes the ball and man. Referee Jonathan Moss says no, but I'm not 100% sure. 78, Swansea have to go for this. A point today would be massive in terms of their Premier League survival. Point in protecting goal difference now. Close. Andre Ayew shifts the ball onto his left with Cahill allowing him far too much space. He opens his body and whips it wide. 75, Victor Moses. The fullback only needs to turn Fabregas' strike goalwards from 2 yards but it's bounced off him and dribbled inches wide of the post. Swansea survive. 73, Dyer plays a near 1-2 with Jordan Ayew and cuts the ball back from the byline. Azpilicueta clears it for a corner, which Ayew nods over with Courtois caught in no man's land. 71, Emerson, still Emerson charging forward, the fullback channels his inner Marcos Alonso but runs out of steam and scuffs an effort at Courtois. 68, Hazard heads straight at Fabianski from Azpilicueta's cross but the offside flag was raised anyway and it wouldn't have stood. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. 65, Conte is penalised for a high boot towards Andre Ayew. He, who one reader couldn't believe has been linked with AC Milan and Everton, floats across that Giroud heads clear. 63, fullback Roberts being replaced by Tom Carroll. 60, space is starting to appear for the hosts. Jordan Ayew goes on a positive run and nearly finds his brother in the 6-yard box. Cahill clears. 57, Moses' delivery is cut out at the near post before Giroud could connect. Nathan Dyer comes on to replace King. Injection of pace could be exactly what Swansea need. 54, finally some end-to-end action. Andre Ayew heads Olsen's crossover before Emerson's dinked cross lands between a number of blue shirts. A bit of urgency being shown now. 51, this is better from the hosts. They've increased the tempo going forward with the Ayew brothers heavily involved. Giroud has just delivered a lame cross according to Chris Sutton. He's down with the kids. 48, Swansea go with the training ground routine down the right flank that sees Clucas drifts across to the back stick, but Mawson couldn't keep it down. 45, and we are back underway. Carlos Carvalhal has resisted the urge to make changes, but I can't imagine it'll be too much long if they continue to show Chelsea this much respect. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. HT, what's the point of Bakayoko playing? He drifts around with no heart or purpose on the ball when it falls to him, says Steve on Twitter. I think that's a little bit harsh. He's been alright today at mopping up the danger. I just expected more going forward when he arrived in London. Hola, HT, Cesc Fabregas scored his 50th Premier League goal, becoming the third Spanish player to do so in the competition, after Fernando Torres and Diego Costa. Twitter roundup. Nick, can someone explain why AC Milan and Everton want Key? I genuinely cannot see why these clubs would want him. June, it saddens me greatly to say it, but I think Swansea are one of the worst 3 teams in the Premier League. Way out of their depth against the top half unless it's pouring with rain. Emerald, I think Spurs should be most concerned about Chelsea's form. Liverpool will scrape the 3rd place unless Chelsea can win matches by cricket scores. Getty. Swansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Swansea 0-1 CHELSEAHT, well that was rather easy for Chelsea. An easy Cesc Fabregas is the difference at the break with Swansea barely testing Thibaut Courtois. Do you remember Chelsea's clash away to Huddersfield earlier this season? It has the exact same feeling, and that ended 3-1. 44, we've got a lull. It's all fairly tepid as the rain continues to pour down. The Liberty is silent. 41, danger. Moses concedes another sloppy free kick away on the left. Key delivers again and despite a better delivery, Cahill rises highest to clear. 39, Key is having a nightmare trying to mark Eden Hazard. The Belgian simply drops the shoulder and speeds past him. In other news, it's lashing it down. Remember those 3 days of sun we had? I doubt we'll be seeing the yellow thing in the sky for a while. 36, signs of life from the hosts. They are pressing Chelsea higher up the field, but the Ayew brothers are finding it difficult to escape the attentions of Chelsea's backline. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. 35, Olsen draws Moses into a sloppy tackle. He's booked and Swansea have themselves a free kick just inside the left touchline. Key to deliver, straight to Courtois. Wasted. 33, Hazard beats his marker and lays it off for Moses, whose cross somehow eludes everyone in a 6-yard box and dribbles out for a throw-in. 30, half hour gone and Antonio Conte will be cautiously optimistic. His side look to have Swansea's number going forward, but the hosts look like they've got a goal in them. 29, okay, now they have right to be annoyed. Jordan Ayew is floored by a clumsy challenge from Gary Cahill and the decision goes Chelsea's way. Baffling and ridiculous in equal measure. 26, referee Jonathan Moss is taking some flack for a few decisions against Swansea. I don't really think they have much to complain about, but there's ironic cheers as he gives a decision their way. 23, almost a spectacular own goal. That would have gone down in history. Mawson toe pokes Giroud's knockdown towards his own net and it shaves the crossbar. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium 20. The picture above is Antonio Conte putting a snoot on, by the way, not having a blindfold breakdown on the bench. Point 17, closed. Moses has a threatening toe poked effort deflected behind for a corner, which narrowly it evades Giroud and Rudiger. Inches away from being 2-0.14, is Marcos Alonso going to struggle to get his place back? Most Chelsea fans I've spoken to have been delighted with Emerson's performances recently. Terrible news for my fantasy football team obviously. Point 11, Swansea have won just twice when falling behind in the Premier League. They've also scored 2 goals in the last 5 games. Point 8, Eden Hazard is back. He was pretty quiet for a few weeks but the Belgian is pulling all the strings in midfield. Moses' cross deflects invitingly into Hazard's path, but the Belgian slips as he goes to shoot and doesn't get a clean connection. Point 5, well, the top and bottom of the Premier League looked done and dusted a week ago, but it's wide open now with Chelsea closing the gap with Tottenham to 2 points. Southampton are also just a single point behind Swansea. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty StadiumChelsea. Swansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Swansea 0-1 Chelsea, Fabregas 4, air. Well, that escalated quickly. Chelsea have sliced Swansea wide open and Cesc Fabregas has emphatically punished them. Eden Hazard's burst of speed is enough to beat Key. The Belgian lays it off to Fabregas, who curls it beyond Fabianski with a fantastic first-time finish. Point 3, Timo Bakayoko clearly getting his mistakes out the way early by dithering on the ball and subsequently conceding a free kick in a dangerous position. Courtois gathers, but the midfielder needs to get up to speed quickly. Point 1, your Saturday evening starts here, the BT Sport commentator shouts as Chelsea get us underway. I think he's grossly overestimating my plans for this evening. It starts and promptly stops at the Liberty Stadium, folks. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Swansea vs Chelsea 17-26. Quick reminder, Swansea 11, Fabianski, Naughton, Van der Horn, Mawson, Olsen, Roberts, Key, Klukas, King, Jiu, Aiu. Subs, Nordfeldt, Britton, Dyer, Carroll, Routledge, Rangel, Sanchez. Chelsea 11, Courtois, Azpilicueta, Cahill, Rudiger, Moses, Bakayoko, Kante, Fabregas, Emerson, Hazard, Giroud. Subs, Caballero, Christensen, Zappacosta, Barkley, Pedro, Willian, Murata. Situation, 17-23. I think most Swansea fans were feeling pretty confident before today's results, but a win for Southampton coupled with an unlikely draw for Stoke have tightened things up. Swansea will send West Brom down if they avoid defeat by Chelsea today. Carlos Carvalhal's side are 1 point above Southampton, with this evening's match being their game in hand. When do they meet? Tuesday the 8th of May at the Liberty Stadium. That is going to be huge. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Sale, 17-20. It's not often you will see Antonio Conte jumping to Jose Mourinho's defense, but that's exactly what he's done. Salah tormented Chelsea while playing for Swiss side Basel and moved to Stamford Bridge in January 2014. Limited opportunities saw the Egypt forward join Fiorentina on loan 12 months later, and then Roma on a temporary deal which became permanent. Some have used the benefit of hindsight to criticize Mourinho, now with Manchester United, as Salah has been thriving for Liverpool since returning to the Premier League from Serie A last summer. It's not so simple, Chelsea head coach Conte said. We have to compare Salah of 4-5 years ago, and not with this Salah now. Salah in the present has improved a lot. He has developed his football a lot. I think the Italy experience was very important for him and now I'm sure that he's a different player, compared to the past. Getty. Swansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Pressure, 17-15. Chelsea manager Antonio Conte, we have to try to get 3 points. It won't be easy and we are playing against a team fighting against relegation. They are in good form. The reality is that Tottenham have a big advantage, 5 points more than us. The only way to put a bit of pressure on them is to get 3 points tomorrow. Otherwise it is difficult. Note Tammy 17-10. Obviously Tammy Abraham is unavailable to play against his parent club this evening. He's joined BT Sport for their coverage, and looks dressed for a night out on the town. And yes, using the phrase, night out on the town, to serve as evidence that I'm an old man. Twitter roundup. Matt, glad to see Emerson being rewarded with a start from Antonio Conte, likewise with Giroud. Hopefully, the Blues can continue the good run of form that they've recorded as of late. Durban, bottom clubs all fighting for their respective Premier League lives today, would rather play top 5 team at end of the season. Come on Chelsea, Nama, how Willian does not start in any formation is indefensible. Antonio Conte has not utilized him well this season. He must be in every starting 11. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. David vs Goliath, 1700, Swansea boss Carlos Carvalhal, it is David against Goliath again. We are up against a good team. They have great players, all of them will go to the World Cup after the season, and a very good manager, but at the Liberty we have good support from the fans and our players grow there, we play better at home. We are in a period where we want to make our presence felt. Jag, 1655, I think Swansea manager Carlos Carvalhal might well have taken a swipe at Antonio Conte earlier this week. Conte caused a stir when he claimed Burnley boss Sean Dyche has an easier job compared to managers competing at the top end of the table and backed by bigger transfer budgets. But Carvalhal believes managers at the top clubs have it easy compared to the role he inherited at Swansea at the end of 2017. Of all the jobs in the Premier League, I think ours is the hardest of all of them, Carvalhal said. Why? Because when we arrived we were 5 points adrift, no one else was playing in this condition in this competition. I did not prepare the team at the start to win the title or to go to Europe. I accepted the challenge midway through the season when we were bottom, in the relegation zone. There is no harder situation in the competition, absolutely sure. Reuters Premier League live scores, Everton, Newcastle and Southampton in action. Team news, Swansea 1645, Carlos Carvalhal has made 2 changes. Federico Fernandez, injured, and Tom Carroll, bench, are replaced by Connor Roberts and Sam Clucas for today's clash. It's nice to see Renato Sanchez return to the squad after a lengthy spell on the sidelines. Team news, Chelsea 1640, as previously mentioned, Olivier Giroud keeps his place in the Chelsea starting 11 after impressing against Southampton in the FA Cup. He starts alongside Eden Hazard in a 3-5-2 formation at the Liberty Stadium. Thibaut Courtois is back in goal as Emerson Palmieri replaces the suspended Marcos Alonso, who will be available next week. Elsewhere there is no place for Willian or Alvaro Morata, they will have to make an impact from the substitutes bench. REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Swansea vs Chelsea 1630, and here are your lineups folks. Antonio Conte continues with Olivier Giroud in attack, and why wouldn't you after that Lionel Messi-esque goal against Southampton? Swansea 11, Fabianski, Naughton, Van der Horn, Mawson, Olsen, Roberts, Key, Clucas, King, Jiu, Aiu. Subs, Nordfeldt, Britton, Dyer, Carroll, Routledge, Rangel, Sanchez. Chelsea 11, Courtois, Azpilicueta, Cahill, Rudiger, Moses, Bakayoko, Kante, Fabregas, Emerson, Hazard, Giroud. Subs, Caballero, Christensen, Zappacosta, Barkley, Pedro, Willian, Morata. Getty Swansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Have your say 1628. If you want to vent your frustrations, or discuss any issues in the world of football, within reason, then get in touch. You can either comment at the bottom of the page or contact me via Twitter using the hashtag Evening 1625. Welcome to our live coverage of the Premier League. I was worried that today's clash at the Liberty Stadium would be a dead rubber, but there's lots at stake. Liverpool failing to beat Stoke at Anfield has had significant implications at both ends of the table. Antonio Conte's side are now 9 points behind Liverpool with 2 games in hand and a showdown at Stamford Bridge next Sunday. Swansea, meanwhile, can effectively relegate West Brom and Stoke with a shock victory over the visitors. Ready for some team news? REUTERSSwansea vs Chelsea, Premier League latest score, news and updates from the Liberty Stadium. Swansea vs Chelsea. Swansea could be without defensive duo Federico Fernandez and Kyle Bartley. The pair both face scans on knee injuries and, if ruled out, could force manager Carlos Carvalhal into playing 4 at the back rather than 3 central defenders. Dutch winger Luciano Narsing is another doubt with an ankle problem, but Portugal midfielder Renato Sanchez could return to the squad for the first time since the end of January after a hamstring problem. Chelsea left-back Marcos Alonso will complete his 3-match ban. The Blues have no fresh injury concerns, but could make changes following the FA Cup semi-final win over Southampton, with Thibaut Courtois expected to return in goal. Danny Drinkwater, groin, was left out at Wembley but could return, but defenders David Luiz, knee, and Ethan Ampadu, ankle, are out. Last season, Chelsea 3 Swansea 1, Swansea 2 Chelsea 2 top scorers, all competitions, Jordan Ayew, Swansea, 11, Eden Hazard, Chelsea, 16 referee, Jonathan Moss, County Durham.